Hi everyone, today I'm welcoming you back to my studio for some lilac painting. So lilacs are one of my favorite of the season, and it's quite a big bouquet. I have white and purple and slightly pink lilacs, so I'll dive straight into it. I'm using a repurposed canvas. As you can see, I painted over it. Not painted, but I I scratched the previous one first, and then I primed this one with oil ground, 2 layers. So it's a cotton canvas, but it shouldn't absorb paint as much. Normally I don't like cotton ones, but this one I just decided not to waste. So I have a very dark brown background. So just try to see how this will look on this. Just try background first, just to see how the paint will go over it. So yeah, it goes okay, more or less. Maybe I will not make it as liquid as I normally would do. So it's just strange to start from background, but I'm only trying to see how the paint goes over it, and then I will clean my brush and start. So I can see that very liquid one doesn't go that well, so I have to put thicker paint, maybe not to dissolve it at all. So okay, now I'm starting on lilacs. So I'm using magenta, blue, and touch of transparent terra rosa, and maybe some alizarin. So trying to use this for my darkest lilacs, and I'm maybe going brighter than I should to start from, but I just need to indicate the main clusters of lilac. And where it's a little bit lighter, I'm adding touch of white, just touch of white, not too much, because this lilac is more in the light. This cluster, I call them clusters because like a big shapes. And again, because the shapes of color, I'm adding just touch of green and even yellow ochre to dull the color a little, because further in the shade it's more kind of color that doesn't have much color in it, because it's further away. So I'm adding more terra rosa and yellow ochre and just trying to do the shadow part of it first. Will be few. I tried to separate those clusters, but sometimes it doesn't separate that much. I actually have a very interesting, I think it's double blooming lilacs. It's very beautiful. So I'm using a little bit more yellow ochre, a little bit more of that purple mixture, and it's a little bit dull here, but I'm trying to find all the cool and warm shades of color in it, just to see. So there is lighter here, more light here, and I will be adding even more light for the one that actually goes quite well when I don't use any liquid. So it looks something like this. So I kind of smudged some colors in here. And now I'm using again some terra rosa, some magenta. So again, this is the darkest part at the back, the quite bright ones. And then I'm adding tiny bit of lighter color in it, and even some kind of yellowish color here. I added cadmium yellow dip actually to this one. So I'm trying to look at the shapes. And by the way, I'm using synthetic brush because on this surface it goes quite well. So there is more green in this one because there's green from the leaves. So I'm using this green shape and even more green. I'm using green and brown to separate because I have some greens on the edge of this white end, so I want to put it straight away. And then I'm going back to my purple green. So this one is dark as well, and then go back to lighter color of the same kind of purple green. Then I have brighter ones. I'm using white and magenta and touch of alizarin, because that goes to the light and they're brighter. So I think for now that's about it for the purple lilacs. So of course I'll go through them again. So I'm going to mix some green, some cadmium yellow deep, and maybe even cadmium yellow light, and just a touch of brown in it. So I'm mixing a warm green, and that warm green goes here around where I have the white lilac, so it kind of goes like this for majority of the branch or the cluster. Goes a little bit here. It grabbed a little bit of purple, but that's okay. So I'm going here, and then there will be whiter, and I'm adding a little bit more of this yellow. It's kind of coming here. This is cadmium yellow light, not cadmium yellow deep. And there is a really nice cooler green ones, so I have to use green and add it a little bit here at the bottom, and even cooler I'm adding tiny bit of that purple one, because I think white has a very highly reflective surface and it absorbs lots of other colors. So now to put my light white, I'm using clean color, squinting, and just do a little bit of this one. Of course I'll be going with softer brush later and adding more. Colors. Just for a minute I forgot if I put my camera, sorry, not camera, microphone. I always forget. So even with this brush, even though it's soft, it's already challenging to put lightest lights here. I'm trying to keep the freshness of the color. There's a big one here, and I will be putting more layers of paint, of course, as well. Probably will have to use more white later, just to separate the clusters. So I think once I separate it with greens as well, it will be easier. So I'm going to use some viridian, a lot of viridian and brown. Made a big pile and go through the greens, so this will be easier. And so there are some darkest greens, I'm using those first, then there will be lighter greens. So this is kind of leaves go into, there's one leaf here. The good thing is that because green and brown and purple, the kind of close family to each other, so for me it's easy to get in one paint or the other and then paint over it. Like for example here I will be separating leaves later with background color. Right now it doesn't look like it because this brown will be much lighter, so I'll just try a little bit of this brown. Yeah, I probably will dull it with some white and maybe with some blue, so it will be a little bit different. It will be like this, but for now it works for the purpose of my painting. So there will be some cooler sorry, I got in the wrong pile. I got in the wrong pile of white and blue and green. Should have done that. So really it will be like this, kind of more blue brown. Than now I made a real mess here. But that's okay. Just need to separate a little bit. It would be nice to use it over here as well later. So I kind of moved in background because I mixed too much of that color, but that's not a problem because it's just a beginning. And I will keep comparing the values and the colors, where it's lighter, where it's darker. Like right now it's not, the purpose not to cover the canvas, the purpose is to put the main values right and the main colors right and see how they all work together. So by the way, I'm using slightly bigger canvas than normal, so it will take time for me to paint certain areas. And I also see this nice warm beige color on this side as well, so I'm kind of going to mass it in while I'm here, so I will see how my background is going to be stretching across this. Then I'll compare, like for example I can see this lilac is going to be much lighter value than I did it in comparison with my background, and that's good. It kind of gives me the range of values. So I'm going to clean my brush, go back into my green. So there are some green leaves here, some green leaves here, here. They may not go quite well yet, but for the first go should be okay. Actually what I can do, I can just wipe on this surface. I can very easy wipe where the leaves are going to be. So this is going to be one leaf, that's another one, and one here as well. So that's a good thing with this surface, it wipes really nicely. And then I can go back. They're not going to be as green, they're going to be slightly lighter, but for now this will work for me. I'm going to add some more yellow, some more green to that one. It's going to be kind of this color. I think there is one leaf going this way and then one leaf going this way. Anyway, I will go with background color under it. Do my leaves that on top is a little brighter and a little warmer. There will be one leaf coming out of here as well. Anyway, I'm not going to be stuck with these leaves because leaves can wait and flowers can't. So I'll wash my brush again. So I can see that these flowers go a little bit further, same as these ones. And I'm not going to the brightest brights yet, just indication where it's lighter. So going back to background, I obviously need to do a little bit of the background here as well, just to indicate where is what. I can see this one is much warmer by the vase. So this is the edge of my tabletop. I decided to do the edge today because I have this board. A little bit darker here. So there will be some leaves here, so obviously I'll leave just for now here because I will paint my leaves. I'll just indicate the borders and contour of my lilacs. So this is all going to be background. And it's a dull beige color, same as up there. Like I said, background can be worked later. That's not a big problem. So I'm going to wipe some leaves potentially in some other areas where I see them. That will help me to break through the background. So there is some leaf here. There are leaves here. One here. One here. There's one leaf going through here. And some leaves here. I think I'm destroying my painting with these leaves, but I need to paint them. Should be enough for now. And I think in this area I have to wipe better, paint over again. So I have my very good, now my hands are dirty, I have very good baby wipes that save me wiping my hands. And by the way, my vase this time is just a ceramic white beige vase. It's not glass. It's a kind of thicker material. Again, I'm only indicating certain areas for the vase, but not too much. And by the way, I will squeeze much more white. I will need lots of white for this painting, that's for sure. So I'm normally squeezing white in a few different piles. So some pile may be more contaminated than the other, that helps. So we'll do my vase. So I'll use a yellow ochre and white, and that's the main area. And actually it's very, very similar, especially in this area where I have cast shadows from this lilac. It's very similar color to my background, so I have to be careful to make sure I separate them and understand which is where. So that's my vase color, and it has a slightly warmer area here because it's white, but then it has this cast shadows falling on it, and it also has highlights, so I have to be careful. My light is cool for now, and I think I'm going to stick with it, so I have to make this one actually cooler rather than there's some indications of gloss, but and there are some shadows, so there will be some reflections in the vase. I think it's a little darker here, and at the same time, while I'm there, I'm going to separate these greens. Some green leaves in here. Still using viridian and transparent oxide red. So there is one leaf goes this way, one leaf goes this way. So there are leaves curling back. And I'm doing a cast shadow, so I will not forget. Cast shadow of the vase on the table. And then table itself is also going to be a mix of yellow ochre and transparent oxide red. And it's very close by color to the vase itself, so I need to make sure that I separate all this. So what I'm going to do for the vase, I'm going to use more brown and more yellow at the bottom of the vase, and table will be a cooler tabletop. So I'm using yellow ochre and white. Like I said, once I do all the main flower areas, I will work on the background and tabletop. For now, I need to make sure that the values more or less match, then I will adjust the color. So this vase goes a little bit up here, like this. This is my main area where it's lightest. I mean, the other areas are slightly darker. to build the shape of this vase. I'm trying to put the shadows from the leaves and from flowers as well, from clusters. So I'm using a little bit of blue, more blue in this brown, not too much, but it kind of goes more into blue than brown, but just trying to squint. Actually it has some green in it. It's interesting, yeah, because of the white absorbency of the other colors. Again, this leaf went too far because it's not that big. I think I may change slightly this into grayish, because that's what I see there. I hope I post the photo. Say I hope, because I sometimes forget to take the photo. So, but it's good to have photo reference, I agree. So, stuck in one place. I'm stuck in one place, that's what I noticed. And I don't like it normally. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it for now. Just put a highlight on the table, or on the, not on the tabletop, put highlight on my vase. So it's somewhere here. It's too much of the blue. Also, at this point I notice that this yellow part goes a little higher, a little bit darker here, and even more dark. I have to go really dark to keep the shape of it, so I'm going really darker here. Because I can always go lighter when I have to, when I need to, like in these areas. A little bit of lighter. And really I need to start switching to a little bit more comfortable brush for me for this purpose. So this is too blue, but it gives me that coolness that I need in this area. My highlight is here. Really using big brush for highlight this time. What I noticed that I needed make it a little bit warmer. So this highlight will sit better, because that's what happens when you see that highlight is not sitting well, then you know that it's a wrong, at the same time it's a wrong value or the wrong temperature. So have some leaves going down there, and some of them produce good shadows. Again, trying to use this challenging surface that I chose today. At the same time, I think this one goes here. Okay, so like I said, this surface is not my normal surface, slightly different, but I'll work on it after. So a few more leaves and I think I will switch to a different brush and put more green color for the leaves. So there's green. I have to work really thick even in the shadows. Just because it's a challenging surface and because I already painted on it in the past. Have this just kind of smudging those leaves for now. What I don't like is this bottom corner. So I'm just kind of very quickly cover it with paint, because this is the darkest, one of the darkest corners. The other dark corner is here. And I'm lifting a little bit here. I can see now that I moved it too low. I mean the lilacs. So paint just over them. I have to wipe a tiny bit here. So I want to leave this edge of the vase a little bit more curved. Yeah. So this process may take longer, but I have to probably cut video. If it gets too long, I'll see how far I go. Don't want to make it too long and too boring, but at the same time some people like to see the full process, from what I understand. Because the process itself is not short, it's not miracle. So you have to kind of take your time, think. Sometimes you have to step away. Go and look at other things, compare. So what I'm doing now here is my highlight is not as bright as I want it to be, because it's a highlight. So I'm making slightly warmer my surface, but where highlight will be, again, it's comparable to other things. It's warmer but still cool enough because the light is from the window. But at the same time I want it to be noticeable. So this is the cast shadows from leaves, and I think I have my darkest part here. Again, when paint sets I may do more. more adjustments on the shape, including geometrical shape. Right now this particular surface, because paint sits on it, it's just kind of, sometimes it's even bad when it doesn't absorb as well. Anyway, let me try again with highlight. Leave it like this for now. Yeah, and I put some slightly thicker paint as well. So I think this one needs more green in it, in the shade. Same as this one. Okay, maybe I'll leave it. It's enough for now. Make sure I have my shadows. Okay, looks like very dark painting to me, so start adding light. So I'm taking a different brush, and this brush is going to be a softer synthetic brush. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to start from my lightest light to bring light to the painting, and then see how it goes. I'm mixing a huge pile of this color, white, yellow, and go with my light lilac, because I know how my eye will start getting tired and I will not see what I see, so I have to do this lilac. Plus I have a squealing puppy who doesn't let me go very far for long, so I may have to stop the video and then maybe connect another video. That will be another painting challenge for me as well. I mean, learning curve. Kind of squinting, not to trying to lose the original shape, so that's why I'm going back into here. Of course I'm not painting every flower, no way I'm going to do that. It's too much for me, plus I don't like painting. Maybe I'll do indication of some flowers, but what is more important for me is to keep my impressionistic look and the shadows of the big clusters. I think it's quite a challenging task, at least for me, because some of these flowers kind of go in light, and it's tempting to put the light on flowers that you see, but if you put too many individual flowers, then you lose the overall shape, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so that's enough for that. So now I'm going to another bright color, pink. So I'm using pink. Probably will go front one first, because it's a brighter one. Again, have to be careful where I put it and how much. Yeah, that's the all challenging task of any painting. How much paint and where. If it was that easy, then I don't have to worry about anything. It's not that easy. I should take my time and enjoy it, but I already did one painting where I took my time, so this one could be a little bit faster. I see a tiny bit of blue in ones, I think they're already kind of, maybe because of greens, I don't know, but see a little bit more blue in this one, as long as I don't go too much. And then the ones that really bright here. And like I was saying before in previous videos, sometimes you lose the brightness because of white color, so I really don't want to do that. There are some smaller clusters hanging here. And I don't want to lose my warmth as well, make it too cool. I know that I will be including some greens in clusters themselves, so squinting again. This one has a tiny bit more light, almost, actually it does lose color a little. So what is happening interesting at the back, it's a very kind of cream beige color, but it's not very bright, so I'm just going to go around very lightly in the areas where I see it, because I already have a kind of mud here. So it actually works good for me because I don't need very bright colors here, because it's more like at the back, and I can see it's warm. I think I put slightly older branches there, so it works okay for me. And now it's going to look at them. They give us just idea that it's still lilac, and my lilac is double blooming, so it's very like complex, I would say, very complex flowers. Some of them like almost 5 petals, some of them a little bit less, but no way I'm going to count them. And I'm so tempted to put greens, even though my green is almost gone. I need to add, but I'll just try to put a little bit of green because that's really going to enhance. So there is leaves there. So as you can see, the soft brush does much better job There is a dull light green. So I'm using, forgot to tell what I'm using. So I'm using yellow, ochre and viridian for this kind of dull green color. I'm trying to keep the shape of, I have very bright green that's called emerald that kind of helps to bring more green very quickly if you want. So this one has more green in it actually. So I'm trying to use tip of my brush when I do leaves, or flick it the way it works for me for the leaf. So some of the leaves I can hardly see, so just indication. Definitely need more viridian. Viridian is a warmer green, and it's a good one for indoor paintings where you need warm green, especially when you add brown to it. but it depends, like outside sometimes it's also good, but you can also use other greens as well, but just have to watch. So this one, I added too much brown in it, so adding some green. Kind of carving through the flowers. Trying not to forget about other light greens as they come in the light. So like here I can see. So there is a leaf going there. This leaf is a little darker, and sometimes it's good to carve with background around leaves, just to indicate the shapes. So like in this case, especially that they're hardly seen, I'm just going around them. And in the end, when I go through all the leaves and flowers, I may remove some leaves, I may keep some leaves. There's more kind of decision-making process in the end that you make sometimes. So this leaf apparently goes here that I haven't seen. And then this leaf curves. So I'm thinking a little bit lighter area here, just tiny bit lighter. So I'm using the same brushes. You can see paint did set a little bit, so it kind of helps me. I can still see when I squint that my lilac is much lighter in spite of dark bits there. So I'm just kind of indicating that the border, where the border is finishing. The contour, but because the contrasts at the back are not as strong, I'm going to leave it like this. Will be more interesting on this part. I have to make it dull enough and dark enough so my lilacs will be in the middle of this rather than, so probably will be going to use this color that has more blue in it. It will take me a while to cover this surface, so for now it's just to show you that will be my background here, especially that I need to work on leaves there. I'm not touching it, and I probably will use very similar with a little bit of adding blue in it at the back here. Maybe I'll do a little lighter, I don't know. And actually the paint sets quite nicely very fast in this one. So this one was a project. So I'm doing projects in winter, stretch canvases, and I cover with ground. Maybe I'll do a video on that in winter, but for now I need to focus on this one. So this one was very good start in terms of color. So now I'm going, because because again it's a back. Contrasts are not huge, but it's a little lighter than, so I'm starting from the back. Had some green in it as well. So then I'm going to the next level of lilacs that in front of it, so I have to make it a tiny bit lighter, still at the background. So now I figured out that I kind of messed a little bit with that back, actually not here, so it goes this way. Not that I'm really particular about every single cluster to be exactly the same shape, but I'm just trying to make it so it will look beautiful. So this one goes a little bit lower, and then this one goes a little bit higher. And then I have this very dark area that I don't want to lose either. It's very interesting work, actually, trying to figure out this different clusters and shapes. I just noticed something here that I want to correct slightly, just because I like to go all over the painting. And the most interesting part will be, I will show a little bit like when you break with greens, how different, because it's also, like I said, on the color wheel, green, red and purple, they're opposite each other. It works really nice. So I want to do something different. I want to try to put a little bit of viridian and white and enhance my highlight even more. Because I have soft brush, I just noticed that when paint sets in my work so much better. And I think it did. Maybe blue was better, I don't know. Try to put it again now. Yeah, I think it was better, and I think I should never touch it. I don't know how many times I told that I don't want to touch it, and then I touch it, and that's what happens. And I know what else is wrong, so a tiny bit lower. Just a tiny bit lower. Okay, I'll work on it in due time. Obviously I'll have a lot of time to work on the sport later. In the meantime I need to focus on the, so this green leaf goes here. And there's another leaf going here. Another leaf goes in front. Trying to keep the lilacs shape of the leaves as well. So there is leaf in here that I don't quite see, but I can see just a little bit of it. The other thing I noticed that it's here a little bit greens. So now I'm going to go through the greens at the back. So I used a lot of that strong green now, so I have to mix more yellow ochre to kill it. The reason why I say to kill it, because it's so strong. And I will add a tiny bit of brown just to dull it, and tiny bit of white, because at the back the leaves are not as bright, still green but not as, and because I'm painting it already on this brown background, it helps make them duller and softer. Don't have to stick to any particular shape. So I'm going to do a little bit of more viridian and dark brown in the very middle here, because it's very warm. So there are some leaves there, like this leaf. There is one leaf falling this way, and then there is one stem going. So I think this particular leaf kind of stands out. So I'm adding a little bit more white to it. And even the stem goes this way. There is another leaf. So now this stem and this leaf kind of crisscross, so I don't want that. Okay, so I think just paint with what I have there without touching it too much. If I want to enhance any leaves and make them brighter, I can always do that later, like this. Add a little bit of yellow. Cadmium yellow light really brings brightness, like here. Brings, and if you add a little bit of white as well, it brings lots of light and bright colors. Okay, I'm going to, when I notice things that bother me, I can't do anything about it, so the tabletop will be light and cooler, as I mentioned, so I'm not touching it. But you may see the end of it or not. Hopefully I see the end of it myself. So I'm going to go with this green first, because this green will really help me to separate. So there is one green leaf here. Oh no, oh no, okay. I think this leaf is a little bit, has a lighter part to it as well, so I'm going to do this, and then there are some lighter stems coming out of here. So there is nice green leaf here. And again, like I said, I only put the one that I think will be nice to look of those I see. And I think that one would break nicely the area. So there is dark green here. Also will break nicely. And then this, the actual branch itself goes up. So now the paint set, I can do this leaf much better. And I don't even need any medium or anything, because on this surface it just glides. So the only thing I have to do is cover around those leaves now. So I'm using my background color again, combination of blue and brown. And now I'm seeing where I have to paint over and where I can keep. I think I kind of messed a little bit here, so I'm going to fix it with help of background colors. So there is a little bit of background here, making it darker. Don't want to make a very thick color on background though. I just want to put enough so I could work with it, and later if I see any areas that look weird, I probably will paint more over them. So again, using my softer brush, re-enhancing some of the greens here already put, and then actually this one goes, I have to look at direction of the, so it goes like this. I'm going to use more green and more white and more cadmium yellow light for this particular leaf. Do some smudging with my finger sometimes, just to make the right shape. So this leaf goes like this. Just because it's standalone leaf, I have to kind of work on it more. There is another leaf going this way, and one at the background, like I said before. Actually, I'll make it a tiny bit darker. There's a little tip of the leaves, and the darker side of the stem as well. So I'm using the same brush actually to go around stem. So I'm wiping my brush, but I'm not washing it a lot. I'm thinking, why spend that much time on the leaf? I don't know myself why. Sometimes it happens when you need to ask yourself the question, why spend so much time on that leaf? Because I think the answer is that in certain cases one particular leaf can spoil a whole painting if you don't do it right. So I'm trying to kind of do it more or less looking like lilac. Okay, and like I said, it's work in progress. Have to keep looking at the leaves and flowers, and if you see something, change it. Like this leaf needs more darker color in it. Okay, I'm going back to lilacs and then go back to greens later. I'm using magenta and white and alizarin. So this is a bright one and it's turned to the light, so I'm using even more white in the areas where it's turned to the white. But at the same time it has some tips here. But darker than the actual. This one turned slightly. So this leaf is a little coming here as well. Because that lilac further away, even though it turned to the light again, this is not the center of attention. Try not to work too much on it. And it's cooler, so maybe magenta, because it's cooler, works better on this one. Trying to put only the ones that the lightest lights. And I think I actually extended it more than I should, so I have to kind of paint around it. Yeah, that looks better. So I find with lilac is keeping the shape of the clusters. That's the key to painting lilacs. The same as with any other flower. Keeping the shape is very important. Keeping that impressionist look. So I have very dark green here. Not dark green, dark purple, because they're in the shade. And I need to verify my shape, so I have white, I have this one. This one is not as far, so I have to adjust my shapes right now. For that purpose I'm going to use my background. I realized something, that it's too far and it shouldn't be that far. So I can only see just a tiny bit there of this lilac. So a nice one falling here, and I have a nice one there. And just not to correct the whole painting, because I think I kind of messed a little bit with clusters. I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's not a big deal. Going to emphasize some clusters, and there are some clusters that go under there. So the next thing I will be going with greens through the clusters that's most distinct to me, to put the greens in, to break them through. So once you break them through, it looks really nice. Even here, like I don't have too many greens, but because I messed, I'm just adding them, and that creates this kind of depth So there are some greens even at the back there, but don't see them that well. Like there are some greens here, greens, the actual branch that holds it all together. So I'm not going to finish this painting because it's already 1 hour and I probably will have to cut it, but I mean I'm going to finish the painting but not going to finish the video. So I hope you enjoyed watching. So I think I showed the main thing, how to do the clusters of lilacs, how I do them, and it seems to be working for me, and I'll continue doing the same. So you probably will see my painting, so I'm adding just a little bit of yellow, kind of yellow ochre, or yellow ochre, yeah, cadmium yellow light and white, cadmium yellow deep, I'm sorry, started, yeah, definitely need to finish this video. So it kind of brings up tiny bit these ones at the back to add more depth to those. I might do a tiny bit of those here, but because it's warm I don't want to overdo those. I may do on purple ones. Again, better less than more. And I hope I may do another painting of lilacs, or if you like or want me to do another painting of lilacs, let me know, and I will see you next time on my channel, and thank you for watching. Bye.